The stars whispered to those who could listen, and humanity had been listening longer and deeper than anyone in the galaxy suspected. For centuries, Earth's greatest minds, bolstered by generations of advancement, exploration, and the quiet resolve to grow without external interference, had expanded human knowledge, power, and influence to staggering levels, yet always from the shadows. The galaxy was vast, teeming with life, and humanity saw the wisdom in patience, in gathering strength unseen, and in learning the secrets of those who ruled the heavens. Across humanity's dominion, tens of thousands of ships drifted in silence, concealed by cloaking technology generations ahead of anything the galaxy's so-called Council of Races could fathom. A council of 1,256 worlds, powerful in their diversity yet limited in imagination, had never encountered the titans of Earth. To them, humanity was an unknown entity, a phantom presence in the void. And humanity preferred it that way, preferring to choose their moment of emergence on their own terms. But humanity knew them. Surveillance drones, scouts, and stealth cruisers had kept a close watch over Council space for hundreds of years. The Earth Council had allowed humanity to remain a quiet, unseen presence, gathering intelligence and biding time. This was not out of fear, but as a calculated, strategic choice, a lesson well learned from humanity's own long history of conquest, negotiation, and conflict. Patience had granted them strength, and restraint had allowed them to grow without drawing unwelcome attention. The time to join the galactic stage, however, was fast approaching. Earth's leaders knew the risks, but they saw the potential for a greater future, a future where humanity would no longer need to hide, but could take its place among the stars. And when humanity finally chose to reveal itself, it would be impossible for anyone to ignore. Admirals, generals, and esteemed members of the Earth Council, the Supreme Commander's voice resonated through the massive chamber, his gaze steely as it swept across those gathered. The air was thick with anticipation. After centuries of silence, humanity was finally considering revealing itself to the galactic community. We have operated in the shadows for too long. We possess technology, wisdom, and power unparalleled among the Council's members, and we believe the galaxy is ready, or rather, the galaxy needs, to know of our existence. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, but with it came cautious whispers. Humanity had watched the Council struggle with diplomatic conflicts, resource crises, and regional skirmishes, its bureaucracy sluggish and often woefully inefficient. It was a system humans had long outgrown. Yet, there was wisdom in restraint. Showing too much could incite envy, fear, or worse. To reveal ourselves is no small thing, interjected Admiral Hector Ruiz, commander of Earth's Eastern Fleet. We risk destabilizing entire sectors of the Council space. They may not respond as we hope. General Aaron Cole, head of the Earth Marine Command, nodded, his expression grave. It's not only about power, he said. Once they understand the scale of our resources, they'll come with demands, trade agreements, resource treaties, defense pacts. And if we don't deliver, it could mean confrontation. Supreme Commander Caldwell regarded them both. Understood, but we cannot linger in the dark forever. The galaxy is more fragile than it appears. We're not here to control them, only to help stabilize what we can. And more importantly, he paused, a subtle fire in his gaze, to ensure humanity takes its rightful place. The voices settled as the room quieted. Admiral Noriko Kasumi, leader of the fleet's Super Heavy Division, spoke up. Let them see what we are capable of, but at a measured pace, he said, his calm voice cutting through any lingering doubt. We shall reveal only what they are ready to witness. After a moment, General Cole nodded. If we're to do this, we need to make a statement that is both bold and cautious. Caldwell agreed, turning his attention to the holographic display of the Resolute. Humanity would allow this single Super Heavy-class ship to be discovered. The vessel, smaller than the Earth Council's mightiest Titan and Mothership-class ships, was still a formidable presence. It would be enough to provoke curiosity, enough to intrigue without overwhelming. With a final look around the chamber, Caldwell gave the order, prepare the Resolute for first contact. Let the galaxy's curiosity lead them to us. Great motherships. Humanity's ultimate engineering marvels, each over 200 kilometers in length, capable of sustaining life for hundreds of thousands and serving as mobile cities, with weaponry to dwarf entire planetary fleets. These Leviathans were meticulously constructed over decades, each a self-sustaining fortress designed for long-term habitation in deep space. Only 12 such ships existed, each named for one of humanity's lost cities: Atlantis, Babylon, Camelot, and others. Manned by thousands and housing powerful reactors capable of leveling a moon, these ships were humanity's great monuments of engineering, diplomacy, and power combined. Titan-class battleships. 40 kilometers long and heavily armored, Titans were the primary guardians of human space. Bristling with high-energy weaponry, advanced drone swarms, and equipped with state-of-the-art cloaking fields, Titans ensured humanity's borders remained secure. Each Titan carried its own fleet of drones, smaller corvettes, and interceptors that could operate independently in battle. There were over 200 of these behemoths, and each was commanded by admirals with vast experience in both tactics and diplomacy. Men like Admiral Roel Bennett, who had trained for decades, stood as guardians over humanity's sovereign space. Super Heavy-class cruisers. At 15 kilometers in length, these ships were the smallest of humanity's primary assault fleet. However, they were still far larger than the largest vessels in the Galactic Council's arsenal, which topped out at 5 kilometers. The Super Heavies, designed for speed and efficiency, were fast, heavily armed, and adaptable, capable of operating both independently and as coordinated units within a fleet. Equipped with plasma cannons, railguns, and missile systems, each cruiser was a deadly opponent to any ship that dared cross its path. Captain Elias Merrick, a battle-hardened commander of one of these cruisers, knew the Resolute would make a striking first impression. Leviathan-class carriers. Humanity's fleet also included the formidable Leviathan-class carriers. Measuring 30 kilometers in length, these carriers were designed to house tens of thousands of fighter and bomber craft, each launch bay equipped with rapid deployment systems and advanced targeting arrays. Though not as heavily armed as Titans, Leviathan supported large-scale planetary invasions and space battles, providing strategic air and space superiority. With over 70 carriers active, the Leviathans were humanity's rapid response fleet, capable of deploying immense firepower at a moment's notice. Stealth frigates. Smaller, versatile frigates made up humanity's cloaked reconnaissance and espionage fleet. At 2 kilometers long, each stealth frigate was a miniature powerhouse of surveillance equipment, EMP weapons, and cyber warfare arrays. The stealth fleet had allowed humanity to monitor Council space for centuries, quietly infiltrating critical areas without detection. Men like Captain Jackson Lee had led countless covert missions, amassing data on Galactic Council politics, ships, and species. These ships had cloaking fields so advanced that they could slip past even the Council's most guarded systems. But the fleet alone was not humanity's full strength. Humanity's ground forces represented a land-based power that the galaxy could scarcely imagine. The Legion, a collective name for Earth's most elite forces, was made up of genetically enhanced soldiers, each equipped with exoskeletons, personal energy shields, and neural-linked battle armor. These enhancements, alongside training regiments that spanned decades, produced warriors who could take on entire battalions single-handedly if needed. Men like General Marcus Hale led these forces with unmatched precision, wielding both strategic cunning and unbreakable morale. The Earth Council had forged its space and ground forces for peace, shaping every vessel, fleet, and soldier with a deep commitment to avoid unnecessary conflict. Yet, each one was fully prepared to deliver a devastating response to any who dared to provoke humanity. Aboard the Resolute, Captain Meris Tanaka watched the radar screens intently. The Council's exploration vessel was approaching, just as Earth's intelligence had predicted. The ship's sleek, 15-kilometer frame glided through space, a testament to the Council's highest level of engineering. And yet, compared to the Resolute, this vessel seemed almost diminutive and standing before a tower. "Status report," Meris commanded, keeping his tone calm but sharp. "Council vessel scanning us, Captain." "They're broadcasting the standard first contact protocol," replied Communications Officer Jackson Reed, his voice level as he monitored the readings. The Council's message was formal and carefully structured, attempting to appear open yet wary. Meris nodded, satisfied. The Earth Council had prepared for this scenario well in advance. The Resolute's response had been pre-written and finely tuned, a message crafted to intrigue but not overwhelm. It acknowledged the Council's greeting, identified the vessel as a diplomatic emissary, and extended a cordial offer to discuss the possibilities of future cooperation and alliance. Meris hoped that by holding back any displays of power, they could ease the tension that such an enormous vessel might otherwise provoke. Meanwhile, in the command room of the Council's exploration ship, First Contact Specialist Telvas could barely contain his astonishment. As the head of Xeno relations for his species, the Eldra, Telvas had studied thousands of alien vessels and met hundreds of newly encountered races over his career. But nothing had prepared him for this. The Resolute was gargantuan, a massive, silvery entity that loomed in the distance, its hull smooth and elegant, with panels of polished alloy that seemed to absorb the surrounding starlight. Even from their vantage point, Telvas could tell the vessel was far beyond anything in the Council's Armada. "Look at the scale of it," murmured one of Telvas's fellow officers, his voice tinged with awe. He was a Veraxi, a spindly insectoid species known for their precise measurements and logical analysis. "That ship must be at least 15 kilometers long, possibly more. This can't be a military vessel, could it?" Another officer, a Carolian, a heavy-set species with dense, rock-like skin, said, his tone uncertain. If it were, the power source alone would be detectable across half the sector. Telvas frowned, his mind racing. The ship's design was deceptively simple, lacking the complex markings or visual flair typical of Council vessels. And yet, this simplicity hinted at an impressive sophistication. It was as though the humans had perfected a design so efficient and formidable that it no longer needed embellishment. The Resolute seemed to hum with a quiet authority, its size alone a statement. "Captain Telvas, their response just came through," reported the communications officer, a young Iridanian with bright, shifting patterns across his skin. He played the message aloud, and the crew listened with bated breath. The human ship identified itself as a diplomatic emissary, and the message was polite, even warm. The words were simple, respectful, and extended a gracious offer to discuss a potential alliance. But beneath that message, Telvas sensed something more. There was a confidence in this transmission, a restrained power that hinted at capabilities they couldn't fully comprehend. The humans had chosen to reveal themselves in the form of a diplomatic vessel, yet no diplomat ship needed to be 15 kilometers long. One of the crew, a Fraxian with feline features and sharply observant eyes, leaned closer to Telvas. "Sir, I don't like it. It's too calm. Too well prepared. I fear this emissary could be masking a warship." Telvas was silent for a moment, studying the ship's polished hull on the screen. "Perhaps," he said quietly. "But I think there's something else here, something they're not yet showing us. They're not here to intimidate, but I sense that if they wished it, they could." This realization sent a wave of apprehension through the command room. The Council's exploration team had come seeking new alliances, new possibilities for trade and diplomacy. Yet here was a species that had appeared almost as a force of nature, like an uncharted black hole in the vast map of the galaxy, pulling them in without revealing its depths. As the Council officers watched the Resolute, they felt a strange mixture of curiosity and fear. The Galactic Council, headquartered on the ancient world of Kothoris Prime, convened immediately. Representatives from hundreds of species, from towering, crystalline beings that refracted the chamber's light in a dazzling array of colors, to diminutive, insect-like diplomats with fast-clicking mandibles, filled the vast, circular hall. At the center of the assembly, a rotating hologram of the human vessel, the Resolute, hovered above, displaying the sheer scale and power of this mysterious emissary. Murmurs and uncertain glances filled the chamber as council members studied the craft, its form simple yet imposing. "There are over 100 unknown energy signatures on this vessel alone," a nervous voice echoed, trembling slightly. It belonged to Elder Virin of the Drakari, an ancient race with a deep knowledge of astrophysics and a well-earned reputation for precision. Elder Virin's crystalline form shimmered as he gestured to the rotating hologram. "Who are these humans? What kind of technology do they possess? We've seen nothing like this before, not even from the Eldra or the Vekri." The assembly shifted as representatives murmured, debating in their own tongues. Some species had heard rumors of ghost ships and unidentified signals at the edges of known space, hints of a shadowy presence moving just beyond Council borders. Yet, to actually see this human vessel, a super-heavy cruiser large enough to dwarf even the mightiest warships of the Council, confirmed those rumors with unsettling clarity. Around the hall, a few of the more cautious species began to recognize the potential that humanity could bring. Diplomats from the Eldra, the Vekari, and the Iridanians saw in the humans a potential ally, one who could perhaps help stabilize the galaxy's most volatile regions. A few whispered that humanity's technology, if shared, could elevate the Council's own capabilities, opening possibilities for exploration, defense, and resource acquisition that were previously impossible. There was opportunity here, and the promise of something powerful. But not all shared this optimism. One race in particular, the Thorians, remained deeply skeptical. Known for their aggressive expansion and unshakable pride, the Thorians saw humanity's arrival as a threat to their own influence in the Council. High Commander Zorath of the Thorian Empire, a tall and powerfully built figure with darkly scaled skin and piercing red eyes, looked upon the Resolute with thinly veiled contempt. "It's a bluff," Zorath spat, his voice ringing with disdain as he addressed the Council. "One ship cannot represent an entire species. This Resolute is nothing more than an elaborate attempt to intimidate us. They hide behind this oversized cruiser, hoping to distract us from their true, lesser nature." He swept a clawed hand toward the hologram dismissively. "We should call their bluff. Demand a true demonstration of their strength." A tense silence fell over the hall. Many representatives looked uneasy, casting doubtful glances toward Zorath. Some feared that such a demand might backfire, yet others found Zorath's suggestion compelling. As the debate continued, the Council eventually voted to extend an invitation to humanity, allowing them a seat in the galactic community. Within days, the Resolute had carried an official Earth Council delegation to Kothoris Prime, where humans presented themselves in the Grand Assembly Chamber. They spoke calmly, politely, presenting humanity as a peaceful species with advanced technologies and an eagerness to trade resources, ideas, and innovations. Among humanity's delegation was Earth Councillor James Park, who explained humanity's history, their values, and their intentions with a practiced ease. He was joined by Dr. Daniel Hayes, one of humanity's foremost scientists, who hinted at the many scientific advances humanity was willing to share. Councillor Park's speech emphasized unity, the benefits of collaboration, and humanity's respect for each species' unique culture and contributions. Yet, as respectful and thoughtful as their presentation was, some suspicion lingered among the Council. Humanity's strength was evident, but they had revealed only a fraction of their power, and that fraction had already left an indelible mark. The Thorians, in particular, continued to seethe, viewing humanity's diplomacy as little more than thinly veiled posturing. And so, while humanity's entrance into the Council was largely celebrated, a sense of unease simmered beneath the surface. Humanity's power was treated with respect, but also with a wary eye and no small amount of suspicion. The Thorians, a species renowned for their aggression and territorial ambition, were staunchly unwilling to believe that humanity possessed the might they claimed. Known for their formidable fleets and a cultural reverence for strength, the Thorians saw humanity's diplomatic overtures as little more than veiled weakness. Their high-ranking officials laughed openly, declaring the human display a hollow facade hiding a lack of real power. To the Thorian generals, the so-called Titan-class ships and great motherships were nothing but tales crafted to deceive the Council into believing that humanity was a force worthy of respect. If there were real strength behind those claims, they reasoned, why had humanity hidden for so long? Behind closed doors, Thorian military strategists derided humanity's attempts at diplomacy. Some even began drawing up invasion plans, envisioning human territories as a bountiful conquest to expand their empire. They spoke of human technology with a mix of derision and desire, speculating that any advancements humans possessed could be extracted from them through force and repurposed to elevate the Thorian fleet's capabilities. Finally, spurred by their mounting contempt and a desire to break the illusion of human strength, the Thorian sent an ultimatum to the Earth Council. They demanded a full inspection of humanity's technological claims. To the Thorian High Command, this was a necessary step. Either humanity would yield to an open assessment, admitting its bluff, or it would defy them and reveal its supposed power. But to the Earth Council, this was a test of autonomy and respect. Humanity's response was courteous yet resolute, refusing the inspection with a firm statement that humanity would not answer to any species' demands but was open to proving its strength if truly required. The Forians, stung by the polite rebuke, saw this as open defiance. To them, humanity's refusal to comply was an insult, a denial of Forian authority. The idea that a new species could rebuff them so confidently was intolerable. In a fit of imperial pride, they declared war, confident that a swift assault would force humanity into submission. They envisioned a glorious campaign, one that would allow them to seize humanity's so-called technology and strip away the shroud of mystery surrounding Earth's forces. Forian battle fleets mobilized, brimming with confidence and prepared to break this newcomer's resistance. But they were unaware that they were about to provoke the wrath of a sleeping giant, one that had watched, listened, and waited in the shadows for centuries, quietly building an armada and refining the deadliest tools of war that the galaxy had ever seen. The Forian fleet surged through space, hundreds of battleships and cruisers amassing on the edges of human-controlled territory. Their intent was clear: overwhelm humanity with superior numbers, force a surrender, and take what they wanted. The Resolute, humanity's first contact vessel, lay in their path, appearing alone and vulnerable. To the Forians, it seemed like humanity had no other answer. They attacked, releasing waves of energy blasts toward the lone super-heavy cruiser. But then, space itself seemed to shiver. Out of the void emerged not one, but 10 Titan-class battleships, their immense forms dwarfing the Forian fleet. Energy shields shimmered around their hulls, absorbing the first wave of attacks. Captain Meris Tanaka, aboard the Resolute, transmitted a single message to the Forians: turn back now, or be destroyed. The Forians hesitated, awed by the sudden appearance of humanity's Titans. Yet their pride won out. They charged, and humanity responded in kind. The Titans unleashed plasma salvos, electromagnetic pulses, and kinetic projectiles, obliterating the Forian vanguard in minutes. The remaining Forian ships attempted to flee, but human interceptors, thousands of automated drones equipped with hyperdrives and pulse cannons, blocked their path. Then, as the Forian fleet struggled to regroup, the situation took another turn. From the dark reaches of space, the massive form of Atlantis, one of humanity's great motherships, emerged from the shadows. Its 200-kilometer length dwarfed even the Titans, casting a colossal silhouette against the backdrop of distant stars. The mothership's engines flared with a low, thunderous hum as it positioned itself above the battlefield, its sheer presence a testament to humanity's power. On board the mothership, General Marcus Hale stood before a holographic map of the battlefield, his eyes cold and calculating. "Prepare the Legion," he commanded. The Legion, humanity's elite ground forces, had been silently awaiting their moment. Within moments, the mothership's massive hangars opened, releasing thousands of combat dropships. Armored and reinforced, these ships descended toward the surface of a nearby Forian-controlled world, an immediate response to the Forian threat. On the planet below, Forian defenses scrambled as the sky darkened, the first wave of dropships plummeting through the atmosphere. Engines roared as they deployed soldiers clad in advanced exoskeletons. With energy shields flickering to life and plasma rifles locked and loaded, the Legion cut through the Forian defenders with brutal, coordinated efficiency. Back in space, Atlantis fired its weapons with devastating force, unleashing bursts of concentrated energy that tore into the heart of the remaining Forian fleet. The mothership's weaponry, designed to obliterate entire battalions at once, was an unstoppable force. From orbit, the great mothership commanded both the space and ground assault with flawless coordination. Now facing the relentless Titans, the overwhelming firepower of Atlantis, and the ruthless precision of the Legion, the Forians knew they were hopelessly outmatched. They were no longer fighting a single ship, but the full force of humanity's might, on land, in the air, and in space. The Forian High Command was outraged and in disbelief. Furious at their losses, they ordered reinforcements, amassing an armada of unprecedented scale. Wave after wave of cruisers, battle carriers, and heavy destroyers assembled on the edges of human-controlled space, determined to force a decisive confrontation. Humanity, in response, deployed for great motherships and 200 Titan-class battleships. The scale and sophistication of Earth's fleet shattered any illusions of Forian superiority. Mothership Atlantis, flanked by the Titans, moved into formation and fired its graviton beams, tearing through Forian warships with devastating accuracy. With each pulse, entire formations of Forian ships were engulfed in waves of energy that bent space around them, rupturing hulls and disintegrating their defenses. Every assault met with pinpoint human retaliation, systematically dismantling the Forian fleet's offensive line. Then came the ground invasion. Forian troops deployed on neutral planets close to human territories, expecting swift, uncontested victories. Instead, they met humanity's elite ground forces, the Legion, equipped with high-powered exoskeletons, hovering artillery drones, and devastating energy weaponry. In a coordinated assault, humanity's ground troops held their line, deflecting fire with personal shields, returning precision fire that cut through the Forian ranks with brutal efficiency. As the Forians scrambled for cover, humanity advanced, pushing them back inch by inch, determined to crush their invasion before it gained ground. The sight of the coordinated human fleet above, matched by an impenetrable ground force below, left the Forian forces with a single realization: they had gravely underestimated their enemy. The war did not last long. Within weeks, the Forian forces were broken, their morale shattered. The few who survived spoke of humanity with fear, unable to reconcile the gentle diplomacy of the humans with the terrifying power they had wielded so effortlessly. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council acknowledged humanity's true strength. The humans had never intended to dominate, they had sought only to share knowledge, technology, and peace. The Council adjusted its policies, giving humanity a seat of prominence. The Forians, chastened, offered reparations, and humanity accepted, but with a pointed reminder that this peace was not to be taken lightly. As the humans resumed their peaceful endeavors, it became clear that the galaxy was forever changed. The Silent Watchers had emerged from the shadows, revealing themselves as the Titans of the galaxy.